Hello, fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today for this week's WIP and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress. This is one of mine. You are welcome and encouraged to go grab whatever you are working on and work alongside as I chat, or alternatively, you can treat this as a podcast and just listen. Before I jump in, if you could do a couple of things for me, hit that like button and then hit that subscribe button. Both of those help me out a lot. Check out the description box below. You'll find links to both my Facebook group and my Facebook page. Would love to see you both of those places. And you can follow me over on Instagram at diamondpaintinganonymous. Okay, this is my WIP, as I said. I've got everything I think I need for today. I've got my notes, my canvas. This is my eagle that I'm doing for DP for Vets, which is my ongoing event at the moment. I've already worked on it a little bit. I'm hoping to make a little bit more progress today. I've got my cat-proof tray. I've got some pens. I've got my drills in my favorite little QB storage. And yeah, I'm going to zoom in, move things around a bit, and I will be right back. So don't go anywhere. All right, so let me pick my first color and then I will jump in. Okay, so I'm going to start with a life update. Everyone is healthy. Again, my oldest had gotten sick from some of the kids she works with had a bug, and so that always ends up with you getting it, especially since, you know, being off for the summer and then going back into the classroom, there's always an adjustment period to building your immunity back up because kids are germ factories. My sister calls them petri dishes. It's pretty accurate. When you work in, especially with little kids, you know, little kids don't, having a runny nose, that kind of stuff doesn't bother them. They just go on with life. But teaching them to cover when they cough and not just sneeze all over themselves or everyone else, yeah, that can be a challenge some days. So everyone is back to feeling good, so that's good. Oh man, so my youngest has been suffering for a while from some issues. He has migraines, which is a hereditary thing. I get them, my sister gets them, my aunt gets them, but he gets them much worse than I do. I can usually kick mine with some ibuprofen and a nap if it gets really bad. I've never had one so bad that I needed medical intervention. My sister, on the other hand, takes a regular kind of maintenance medication for hers, and he has just had some really bad ones. So he's been having problems with that and his insomnia. And then he's had this kind of wart on his finger. And, you know, total boy, I can't get him to wait long enough for me to get him into the doctor before he's trying to cut it off because it bothers him. Now, he's cut it off several times already, and it keeps growing back. I bought him some wart remover to see if that would work, and it did fall off, but it grew right back. So I finally said to him, you know, I really think you need to go to the doctor and have the doctor look at it because it keeps coming back. He's had other ones that we've used the wart remover on, and once it falls off, it doesn't come back. So I don't know what the issue is. And so I just said, well, I will call and make a doctor's appointment. We are lucky enough in our little town to have a satellite clinic for the hospital slash medical office that is in one of the towns near to us. So the clinic is literally just down the street. And so I called and said, you know, I want to make an appointment for him. And my regular doctor at that clinic, who was kind of, well, he wasn't the only doctor, but I think they only had 2. And he left without a lot of notice to go work in a hospital, and so the other person's been trying to pick up slack. And so when I called to make an appointment, the receptionist was kind of snippy. And I said, you know, I mean, it's a wart. It's not going anywhere. I'm not expecting an appointment, tomorrow or whatever. And then she wanted to get on me and told me that, well, he's over 18, so he really needs to be calling and make his own appointment. And I'm like, okay. So can I make his appointment or do I need to have him call back? And she's like, well, you really need to be authorized. And I'm like, I need to be authorized on his account to make an appointment for him. Like, I'm not asking for his medical records or whatever. I'm just making an appointment. And that aside, I'm fairly certain when we were there last time that he put me on his account as authorized because he's still on my husband's and I's insurance. And so, we pay all of his medical bills and everything. So if I have a question or whatever, I have to be authorized so that when I call with billing questions, they'll answer my questions. And she's like, well, and she just kind of put me on hold. And after I had said, I don't need an appointment this week, she came back and was a little bit nicer and said, well, she had an appointment near the end of this month. And I said, okay. And then she said, is this your phone number? And reeled off a phone number. And is this his phone number? And I said, that's my phone number. So then after that, she was like, oh, and I guess at that point realized that I was authorized on his account. So she was suddenly much nicer about me making the appointment for him. And then, of course, everybody wants you to fill out all the paperwork online. So we're going to send you this text and it'll have a link to this place. Go here and fill out all your insurance information and all this kind of stuff, which I get that we live in a technological age, but I don't trust these companies to be doing enough security to keep things from, going where they're not supposed to. And so anyway, that aside, I said, well, she's like, they'll send you a text a couple of days before the appointment. And I said, okay, well, are they going to send it to that phone number? Or are they going to send it? She said, well, that's the number we have on file. And I said, okay, well, then do you want his phone number? And she said, whoa, okay. And I'm like, well, doesn't it make sense to have him fill it out since he's the patient? And then suddenly she's like, well, yeah, I guess so. Like, so I can't make an appointment, but you're fine with me filling out his health information. Like, make up your minds, people. It's just crazy. So got that done. So hopefully we will be able to find out, kind of what's going on with him and what, if anything, we need to do for his insomnia and migraines, if they're connected, whatever it is that keeps this wart growing back on his finger. It probably wouldn't bother him so much, but it's on one of the fingers. When he writes, it gets in the way. I don't know if it gets in the way, but he can feel it and it bothers him. So he was actually talking to me about it yesterday and, Mom, I really want to cut this off. And I'm like, don't cut it off. You have an appointment at the end of the month. I don't want you to cut it off and then go in and they'll be like, why did you come in about this? Because it isn't there. So he's struggling with that. But anyway, got it all done. He's got an appointment, so he's all good. Oh, you guys. So I told you, I think in a previous video, about my husband and I ended up replacing the ceiling fan in our bedroom for no reason because it turned out to be the switch, although we didn't know that. We tested the switch and thought the switch was fine, but it was because there was this short in the switch. So sometimes you could test the switch and it would work and sometimes it didn't. But anyway, we bought a new fan and I actually like it and the light fixture much better. So we kept the new one and just got rid of the old one. Anyway, before the fan went out and the light went out and all that, I had ordered a string of fairy lights off of Amazon. I I watched this lady that lives on Svalbard Island. I think I've talked about it before. And for their winter nights coming up, where they have like 2.5, 3 months of nothing but dark. There's no sun during those months because they're so far north. Uh, they She had bought a set of fairy lights that they were going to put in their living room, so they didn't have to run all of their lights. They could just have those on and it'd be really nice and cozy when they were like watching movies and stuff. And I thought, oh, well, that sounds fun. I want to get some of those and try them. So I got a set for our living room, our bedroom. We have a coffered ceiling in our bedroom, so I was like, that's the perfect place to put them. And it wasn't that much more to get ones that had a remote control, so that's what I did. And I just realized I forgot to start my timer, so let me do that. I got ones that came with a remote, and they're super fancy. They have all different, I think I have 10 different colors, and you can make them blink or twinkle or chase, and you can have multiple colors. I think there's a setting, there's like 2 or 3 different settings where it's 2 colors, and then 2 or 3 settings where it's 3 colors, and then I think there's a couple settings where it's like 5 or 6 colors. Of course, I use none of those. I just like the soft white twinkle lights. Um, but I really like them. I'm actually really surprised at how much I like them. So I told my husband, I want to get some more of these because I really like how they look. It just makes everything really cozy. So like when we're in the bedroom, and occasionally I get cold really easy, as you guys know. So when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go get in bed and just read for a while because I'm cold and I want to be under the covers. And so we have a projector in our room. So like if he's watching football or something and the game isn't quite over, he'll come in and lay down with me, and then he'll watch, the game on the projector. And rather than having like our bedside lamps on or something, we've just been turning on the fairy lights. And it's so nice and cozy. I love it. I thought I would like them, but I'm surprised at how much I like them. So I'll try to remember to throw a link in the description box below so you guys can see the ones that I got. They weren't that expensive. I want to say they were under $10. And yeah, I just really like them. I'm like I said, I'm really actually amazed at how much I like them. So I'm gonna get, and my husband I think is surprised too, because he told me to go ahead and buy another set because he likes them as well. And I don't know if we're gonna put them in the living room. Probably the living room. He talked about putting them in the basement, but we spend so little time in the basement. I mean, I go down there when it's cold, when it's really cold outside and I don't want to walk outside. I'll go down there and walk on the elliptical or something. But I very rarely go down there and like watch TV or anything. We have a TV down there as well. My son watches it quite a bit down there, but I don't spend a lot of time down there. I'd rather be up here. We don't have very many windows down there. I think that's part of what it is for me. It's so dark down there. And really in the great room where we have the TV set up, there's really only one window, and it's covered up with curtains most of the time because it's the side of our house that faces our neighbors. And they have a window right by there, so usually that window has curtains over it. Anyway, let's see, fairy lights. Let's see. Oh, you guys, everybody who commented about options for nails, thank you. It turns out the nail polish that I bought actually I think is not gel. It came off with the acetone pretty quickly. So I tried some more. It's not lasting very long, which is why I don't think it's gel, but it looked nice. However, of course, as soon as I paint my nails, I break them. And so I have a couple that I've been babying for the last couple of days, but I think I'm going to have to take my polish off and then cut them all back down where back behind where the crack is, because that nail is just going to rip off at some point. I know I'm going to catch it on something and I need to just cut it off, but I wanted to enjoy my pretty nails for another day or so before I did that. Okay, let's see. Did I get all of those? I think I got all of that symbol. Okay, let me change colors here. What else? Oh, you guys, we're talking about powder dip nails. Somebody mentioned those, so I went out to check them out because I've seen them, but I don't know anything about them. And I think I'm going to skip those. The first thing it said was paint the cyanoacrylate on your nails, and I'm assuming super glue is a trademark or like registered brand or something, but we all know, especially true crime people, cyanoacrylate is super glue, and painting that on my nails as a base coat for the dip just didn't sound appealing, so I think I'm going to give that a pass. I did get some nail wraps that I'm going to try. And I'm really liking the polish that I did get. So I think I will try that brand again and get some additional colors from that brand. But I had no idea there were so many options. So yeah, I like having long nails. My kids always make fun of me that I don't cut them. I'm like, I like having long nails. I mean, I don't want them super long because then I don't feel like I can do anything. But I like having them and I like being able to paint them and stuff. So I've still got some press-on nail options that I haven't tried yet. I'll do those. And the polish that I bought, and then the wraps that I bought, and we'll see how we do. The wraps I'm kind of curious to try and see how fancy I can get putting stickers on my own fingernails. I'm right-handed, so I think my left hand will look okay. No idea how my right hand's gonna look when I get finished, but we'll see. Oh, you guys, I am freezing today. The weather here, it was 70 degrees yesterday. Today it is 30. And I've been freezing all day. Of course, my husband's like, if you're cold, turn up the heat. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to pay for the natural gas. Because since I realized that natural gas wasn't regulated here, you guys know I've talked before about we got stuck a couple winters ago with a big bill that we're still paying off. And I have started keeping track whenever I get our bill of what the base charge is, because it fluctuates because it's not regulated here. The price of natural gas isn't. And so what the city pays to buy it changes. And the base price went up almost $1 over last month. Now, last month it went up like, I think, 4 or 5 cents. So, that's not a horrible fluctuation, but I think literally 80 cents, the base price went up. So, and that makes a real difference, when that gets figured into how many units you're using. And so, yeah, anyway, so I wear my sweatshirts and call it good. Drink my hot tea or my hot cocoa, whatever it is. Anyway, some exciting news on our Canada front. We got an email. Well, my husband got an email. My son and I have been told to go get our biometrics taken. Now, I don't know why we have to get our biometrics taken. They sent us an email a month or so ago and told us, well, it's probably been almost 2 months now, and told us that we needed to pay for the biometrics, even though when we went through all the questions on the website, it said we wouldn't need them. So we got an email, said you need to pay for them. So I just said, okay, I don't understand, but just pay for them. I don't want to not pay for them and then we get kicked out of the processing line. So we did that. And So he got an email that says we need to go get biometrics taken. Okay. Well, they only give you 30 days. And I said, well, is that, we only got 30 days to get our med exams done too. And I said, is that 30 business days or is it 30 calendar days? No, it's only 30 calendar days. And so I'm like on my husband that night, you need to figure out where we've got to go in case we have to go out of state again, because the holidays are coming up, which means people are going to be closed, which means we're going to have that many less days to get things done. You guys, I hope you cannot hear my stomach. I don't know why it is growling so much. I literally, huh. Anyway, so we were trying to figure out where we could go in case we had to go out of state again. Thankfully, we do not have to go out of state. There is a place that we can go in the big town near us to get it done. And biometrics, in case you didn't know, we have to get our fingerprints taken and our pictures taken. Now, I told my husband, I don't know how many pictures they want of us because we had to send in passport photos when we did the initial application. And we ended up doing those twice because I made a mistake on the application and had to get some additional paperwork for my daughter and resubmit. And then when we went for our medical exams, we had to take photos with us because the doctor had to attach photos to the paperwork that he was submitting, I guess to prove that we were the people showing up for the medical exam. And now we have to go get our biometrics and our pictures taken again. So, figured out, where we could go. And I was like, okay, well, you can only, some of these places, you can't talk to an actual person. Everything is online. If there's a number to call, it's a robot menu, that sounds like a person but really isn't. And so then we figured out where we needed to go, and we had to schedule the appointments online. Well, my son and I both have to go, but we can't schedule appointments at the same time. And they only schedule appointments once every hour. So one of us has an appointment at like 9 and the other one is at like 10, which is kind of crazy. So then we have to sit around and wait, but nothing we can do about that. And then when we got in there to make the appointments, the earliest appointment they had was almost the end of the month. And I was like, that's like cutting it really close to our 30-day window. So, I mean, we should be fine, but I was like, I'm glad that we didn't wait until tomorrow. Or, my husband was like, well, let's just wait till Friday. No, I want to do it now. So, and I'm glad that we did, because if we hadn't, we might not have made our window. Because with them only doing appointments once an hour, that of course then limits how many they can do a day. And then you start taking out days for holidays and things like that. And then it just takes even longer. So, but I'm assuming since they're now asking for biometrics, that means that everything looked okay for our medical exams. And so we've moved on to the next step. And that means we're just that many steps closer to hopefully being done and getting our permanent residency approved. I'm not sure what steps are left after this. I know when we did my husband's, we had to go in for an interview, but when he applied for his green card here, we had gotten married. And so, I'm assuming a lot of that, the interview process and everything, is to make sure that you're not getting married just to get your green card and all that kind of stuff. I'm hoping we don't have to do all that, because I don't know how that works. If we have to do an in-person interview, like, do we have to travel to Canada to do that? I don't know. Maybe we'll be able to just do it virtually. That would be nice. That would be my preference, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, so hopefully we are getting close to the end of our journey for permanent residency up there, and we can start figuring out what we want to do. My husband was looking at well, he's been looking at houses since we started talking about this and since we applied. And he found this house that he absolutely fell in love with. It's a log cabin kind of out in the middle of the nowhere. And I like log cabins. And we were looking at it, it's self-sufficient like we want to, do. It had a solar system, it had a septic system, it had a well, it was a wood stove and heat pumps, those mini splits. Those are very popular in Canada. Canada doesn't have central heating and air like we do in the States usually. Most people have wood stoves for the winter for heat or boilers, which I want to avoid. Um, I don't want to use heating oil. I don't want to have to pay for that. Prices on that can get really insane as cold as it gets up there. So I want wood stoves and the mini splits. His parents have mini splits and they really like them. So that's what we were planning on doing. And um, it was, close to some snowmobile trails and that kind of stuff. And so I was talking to my son and said, would you would your preference to be to live in the city, which is what we've been talking about for the short term and renting, or would you be interested in having a place where we could like go snowmobiling and all that kind of stuff? And his immediate question, Mom, aren't there bears? Well, yes, but in the winter, in theory, a lot of them would be hibernating. And then he says, well, what about internet? And I was like, ooh, I didn't ask that question. So my husband went back and looked at the listing, and it is kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and they do have internet. They have satellite internet, but I mean, you might as well have dial up for the speeds they were getting. And I said, yeah, that's just not going to work. I mean, I I can be location independent, yes, but I do have to occasionally, be somewhere that I can upload. And my husband's like, well, you can just go someplace and use their Wi-Fi or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but some of my video files, that would take forever to upload. So yeah, we need to be someplace that has better internet than that. So that log cabin didn't make the cut, but it was sure nice looking. My husband and I both are like, oh, to be wrapped up in front of the fireplace, the wood stove going, under a blanket with some hot chocolate while we watch some movies. That sounds amazing. He's kind of complaining it's gotten cold here. And like I said, it was 70 and now it's 30. And pretty much it looks like our winter weather has arrived. We got a couple weeks of fall and now winter's here. And so he is not looking forward to working because it's going to be cold. And I was like, well, it's not going to be any warmer in Canada, probably. So, you know, probably need to take that into consideration. Anyway, let's see. Oh, and then I've been reading up on like minimalism and, downsizing. And then also, we'd like to be as self sufficient as possible. So I've been reading books about that kind of stuff. And one of the minimalist books, was like about how to kind of declutter your space and get rid of things. And I like to think of myself as pretty brutal when it comes to, keeping things that I don't need or use. But the state of my house would indicate that I'm not as good at it as I think I am. So I really, now that we've gotten the, request for our biometrics and stuff, we're getting pretty close, I think, to being done with that part of the process. And so I really need to start buckling down on going through the house and starting to, decide what is going with us, what are we keeping, what are we getting rid of, and kind of paring down to just less. Um, I told my husband, we we have everything we need. We're very lucky. We spend most of our money on things that we want, not things that we need. And so, you know, I'm a big proponent of experiences over things. And so I want to focus on that. We need to get rid of some things so we can focus on experiences. Okay, guys, so this is, like I said, my DP for Vets canvas. You guys have been posting your pictures and finishes on socials. Thank you so much. Again, don't forget to tag me and use the hashtag DP for Vets for anything that you're working on. So it is time for our second weekly giveaway. So again, I would tell you what's in the box, but I don't remember, frankly, and I've already packaged everything up. I kind of pre-packaged everything before the event started so that I could just kind of pull out a box and it would make it easier for me to just take it down to the post office and be done. So it's diamond painting stuff. It could be pins, it could be wax, it's probably got stickers, it could be tips, it could be drills. I don't know. It's a grab bag of surprises, diamond painting related. So yeah. So what I have done is I have taken the names of everyone who filled out the entry form. So if you haven't done that yet, I will make sure there's a link in the description box below to the entry form so that you can go check it out and add yourself to it if you want to. And then I have entered everybody's name into my little decision wheel app, and I am going to spin for this week's giveaway. So everybody's name is in here. The one that's blacked out is the person that won last week, because if you win one of the weekly giveaways, then you can only win one. I take you out of the drawing for that. But don't be afraid. If you win the one of the weekly giveaways, you can still win the final prize package, assuming you meet all the other guidelines. So I'm just going to spin and let's see who wins this week's weekly prize. So this week is Kelly. Kelly, congratulations. So Kelly, if you will find my email address in the box below and email me with your mailing information so I can get that out in the post office to you, that would be amazing. So yeah, there's my giveaway. Okay, and then the other thing that I wanted to show you guys for the DP for Vets, one of the things that I wanted to do was make a donation. And I was kind of out looking for, you know, something local that I could give to. I didn't find anything that kind of met the criteria that I wanted to donate for, but someone reminded me of OSD. I don't remember who that was, but whoever it was, thank you. And I've actually heard of this one before. OSD is Operation Supply Drop, and they are out of shipping. Their website is weareosd.org, and they are basically, they put together care packages for soldiers who are deployed. And their care packages include things like gaming consoles, games for those consoles, board games, card games, basically a box of things to keep the troops entertained when they have some downtime. And this was actually supported by Critical Role, which is a RPG game, video, what do I want to say? They stream their RPGs. They play Dungeons and Dragons, which I also play. And Travis, who is their CEO, has partnered with these people. So it's a great charity. So I donated to them the $106. The $100 is my donation. The $6 is to cover PayPal fees and whatnot, credit card fees, whatever fees they have to pay in order to get things done. So just wanted to show you guys that is my donation. If you'd like to make a donation to a local charity or OSD or anything like that, that would be awesome. Again, a donation is not required for the event, but if you'd like to do that, I would be super grateful, as would any of the veterans. So yeah, there's my donation. Kelly, don't forget to email me about the weekly giveaway so I can get your information. And yeah, let me zoom back in. I wanted to zoom out a little bit so the wheel and everything wasn't quite so in your face. Let me zoom back in and I will get back to work and we'll finish up this whip and chat. Be right back. Okay, let's see. What I'll do K's. Where is K? All right. What else do I need to tell you guys as far as diamond painting stuff? Okay, so did the giveaway. I showed you my donation. Okay. You guys, I finally finished Miss Havisham. Woo! I'll put a link up there to the video so you guys can see that, but she's finally finished. So I'm super excited about that. That is a big kind of project off my plate. So now I can concentrate on the stuff for DP for vets because these are kind of small canvases, so they won't take me very long. So I'm hoping to finish this one. This eagle, I've got one of my poppy ones that I want to do. And then I've got a couple of flag ones. I don't know if I'll get to both of the flags, but I hope I get to at least one of them. And then, of course, for other things, I've got my koala that I want to finish. That's one of my big 10. I've got this one that is one of my big 10. I've got my Distracted by Diamonds that I just unboxed not too long ago that I want to do. That's one of my big 10. And then, of course, the Heaven and Earth design. And actually, once I finished Miss Havisham, my Heaven and Earth design was underneath Miss Havisham on my table, my working table. And I think it's actually smaller than Miss Havisham. So I thought it was bigger, but I don't think it really is. So hopefully I'll be able to get that one finished and I'll be able to meet that goal for my diamond painting goals for this year. Because really the only two goals that I have left that I haven't either busted like my budget or I haven't met are my DP hours, which I don't think I'm going to make, and then the Big 10. So I really want to make the Big 10 because that's like doable still. My budget is going to get blown. I talked to my husband about, you know, jokingly, how much are you going to let me spend on Black Friday? And he's like, I don't care. Spend whatever you want on diamond paintings. And I was like, okay. So, and I just threw out a number and he's like, well, that's fine with me. And I was like, seriously? And he's like, I don't care. And I was like, okay. So I'm definitely going to be buying some diamond paintings. However, I went out to try and look at some and I can't find any I want to buy. How sad is that? I went, one of the places was having a sale and I thought, okay, I know there's one that I would like to have. And so I was like, well, let me see what else is out there that I want to get. And there really wasn't anything that I wanted. I mean, there's some things that I could have, this one's not bad. I'll get that one. But at this point, if I'm going to spend the money on it, I want it to be something I absolutely love and I know I'm going to do. Otherwise, kind of what's the point? And I just couldn't find anything like that. And I finally just decided, if I'm trying to force myself to buy something, that means I don't really want it. And I don't want to spend, I was going to have to spend quite a bit on shipping and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not going to spend that much just for one diamond painting. I'll just, the one that I want will go on the back burner. And if something else comes along at some point that I do want, then I can get it. If nothing else comes along, then I wasn't meant to have that diamond painting. So that's just how it's going to be. Anyway, oh yeah, I finished Miss Havisham and then I went to go post some photos and stuff and I was like, oh, you guys, when I was doing my September challenge, I got in the habit of kind of at least making sure that I was taking like beginning and finish photos. And I kind of got out of that habit, I realized. So I have to get better about taking photos. And I think I was concentrating so hard on just trying to get it finished that I kind of forgot about everything else, which is kind of sad because, you spend that kind of time on something. It's nice to kind of look back at progress photos and see how things went along. So I got to get back in the habit of that. And then, let's see, what else? Oh, did anybody get the advent calendar from Diamond Art Club. I looked at it. To be honest, I didn't even look at it long enough to see what the price was, so I don't even know how much it was. But after looking at what was going to be in it, I was just like, yeah, it'd be nice to get 2 kits, but I don't really need, you know, random diamond painting pens or random cover minders. And I didn't want release papers, and I don't particularly like the tips that Diamond Art Club sells. And so I just thought, yeah, at that point, I'll pass. But I'm curious if anybody else got it. And if you got it, what you think about it. Was it worth it? Like I said, I didn't even look at it long enough to see how much it cost. I just was looking at it going, what's in it? Nah, I'll pass. So I am looking forward to Black Friday sales, although I don't know how good the Black Friday sales are going to be because everybody's already having sales before Black Friday. I know there's at least a couple of diamond painting companies that are having pre-Black Friday sales. And, you know, I have permission to buy some diamond paintings. I don't want to spend all of my money before the really good sales get here. So we'll see. Like I said, I've got my eye on some kits. I mean, I have wish lists on most places. I have wish lists at Diamond Art Club, of course. I have wish lists at Orloa. I have a wish list at Dreamer Designs. I have a wish list at Treasure Studios Art. So, you know, lots of places that I would love to get a diamond painting. I really want Orloa to restock that Canada one because I really, really want that one. It's so pretty. I just love that artist style anyway, but I really, really want that diamond painting, and every time I go to look, it's out of stock. So those are not at all straight. Let me fix those. Whew. Okay, what else did I want to talk about? I told you I'm working on the remaining Big 10, of which this is one. Yeah, I was telling my husband today, when I was working on Miss Havisham, you know, I was so focused on getting it done that I was just working on that diamond painting. And that's typically how I work. I have one diamond painting, and that's what I work on until it's finished. But I told my husband, I wonder if having more than one actually in progress, not just kitted up, but actually like on my table so I can work on it, having more than one at a time would help with kind of some of my boredom. It's not even really boredom. It's just, you know, especially working on a big project like Miss Havisham, it takes so long that it doesn't feel like you're making any progress. And so I was like, I wonder if, you know, having some smaller paintings on my table at the same time so that I could, you know, diamond paint, even if I'm not working on the big project. And, you know, maybe then it would feel like I was getting something done faster. And then he said, well, yeah, but then it's actually going to take you longer because you're splitting your hours between projects. And I was like, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I also have decided that I need to pay more attention about the size of projects because, like when I was telling you that I was shopping for something because this place was having a sale, most of the ones that I would have wanted to get, they're so big that they would just take forever. And I am probably just because I just came off of finishing Miss Havisham and it was a big project, I just am not in the market for another huge project like that. I've already got my 3 Heaven and Earth designs that are all kind of big projects, which is misleading because they're called minis, but they're not mini. They're pretty large. And most of my Diamond Art Clubs are pretty big. Most of my Dreamer designs are pretty big. So yeah, I just am not in the market currently for any really big projects. And yeah, maybe I'll feel differently after I have a little bit of distance from Miss Havisham, because the projects, this one and my koala, are pretty small. This one is what, a 30 by 30, and it's a partial, so it's not even the whole 30 by 30. And my koala is I think a 40 by 40, and light is pretty big. My Distracted by Diamonds is pretty big. But I don't think it's either about the same size as Miss Havisham or a little smaller. And then my Heaven and Earth design is actually smaller than Havisham. So hopeful, like I said, that I'll be able to get all of those for my Big 10 finished. But yeah, just am not currently in the market for any more really huge diamond paintings. Let's see. And also, again, I don't know if I'll make my goal because my dang elbow, I will sit down and diamond paint, and I try to be really aware of kind of how I'm holding my arm and, what I'm doing with my elbow and that kind of thing, but it just keeps me from diamond painting as much as I would like, and that makes things go slow, which is frustrating. So I think that's some of my reluctance to get any really big projects at the moment either. And I really want to work through some of my stash. Um, that's something I need to think about too. My approach has always been that I don't unbox anything until I'm ready to work on it, which means that some of my kits sit in my stash for quite a long time. So then by the time I, may be showing them on the channel, they're not available anymore. And that's frustrating for people. I get that. So now I'm trying to rethink, do I want to show it and unbox it before I work on it? Like, is that how other people do it? I guess I don't watch other people's diamond painting channels enough to, know, like if I see an unboxing, I couldn't even necessarily tell you if I've seen a finish of something. I know there are diamond painters who just unbox and then destash. Um, but I always assumed that was like people who were getting freebies, and so they were unboxing the freebies and then destashing them because they weren't going to work on them, which I get doing that too, but most of my stash is stuff that I've actually purchased um, with my own money, so I don't want to just throw it away or give it away or whatever. Although I freely admit there are some things in my stash that I'm like, it may be a while before I work on this one because that just is not something that I want to tackle at the moment. Okay, I think I've got enough of this color done that I'm going to switch to a different color. And let's see, what else? So looking forward to Black Friday sales and figuring out how to do all of that and what I want. And yeah, so if you guys have any thoughts on what you want to see in the direction of the channel, do you want more unboxings, less unboxings, more kitting ups, less kitting ups, more kitting downs, more whips? I'm kind of trying to feel out where I want to go in 2023. I like my whips. I feel like I kind of get a chance to interact with you guys, even though it's not necessarily that interactive. Um, but I get a chance to share my thoughts, I guess, which I find good. Hopefully you guys do too. Okay, I'm starting to ramble, so that means I don't have anything else to talk about. So let me zoom out here so you guys can see I made quite a bit of progress. So I've got most of the dark browns here done, so I can start moving into the white feathers and everything. I can't wait until I get up to the eyes of the eagle so I can kind of see how that's going to look. That's going to be exciting. And this is going pretty fast, so I'm excited for that too. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it for me today, guys. Kelly, don't forget to email me for the weekly giveaway so I can get that in the mail to you. Thanks, you guys, for participating in the event. I'm loving seeing everybody's pictures. If you make a donation, that's awesome. Thank you so much. If you don't have the funds or you just don't want to, that's great too. That doesn't prevent you from being in the final drawing. We are now 2 weeks into the event, so that's exciting. And yeah, hopefully this week I'll be able to kind of catch up on this and either have a finish or at least be close to finishing. And then I can show you something else on the next WIP. I really want to get started on my poppy painting, so I'm going to try really hard. Now that Havisham is done, I can get this one done and move on to the next project for the event. So yeah. That's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end of the video. Before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.